Hello, welcome to How to Make a Web Page series, episode 1. Basically what we're going to cover in this series is how to make a web page with the coding language HTML. Now, what is HTML? What is it called? It's a coding language, just as I said. But it's basically code. And we have to write code, and then the computer has to process that code and make it appear on the browser as a web page, right? That's basically what we're going to do in this series. Keep in mind, we're not going to host the web page right now. Or I don't think we're going to really host it. We'll get a domain as mywebpage.com or mywebpage.net or this is my webpage.info or whatever. No, we're going to go ahead and make the web page from the ground and up with HTML. It does exist some other things like WordPress, so you can make it very, very simple. But if you want to learn the language that you use to make web pages, HTML is for you. But keep in mind also that it won't look as pretty as all the other web pages on the internet. That's because we're going to use HTML. Of course, we will get over to make it pretty, but they use something called CSS and JavaScript and things like that, and that basically makes it prettier, get a nice design, and makes it all function, makes new functions and makes it all look a lot better. But you first have to know HTML, because basically that's just add-ons to the HTML. So you have to first write a web page in HTML, and then you can use CSS and JavaScript and things like that to style it up and make it look better. So to start off, we're going to need to go open up a text editor. Now, you can basically use any text editor that you want, but we're going to use, you can basically use Notepad++, Notepad, Word even, just any text editor. We're going to go ahead and use Notepad, so Notepad, because it's basically pre-installed in Windows and it's simple, so yeah. To start off, what we're going to need to do is going to make an opening angle bracket, HTML, and then a closing angle bracket. Then on the next line, you're going to do the exact same thing, just with a slash in front of HTML. Now, what is this called? Well, this is called a opening and a closing tag. Yeah, they're called tags, and we usually have an opening and closing tags. So everything we put in between these two tags will be what these tags mean. So we could have loads of other things inside of them, but HTML basically, the HTML tags basically say everything in between these two tags is our web page. Now, the reason we have these tags is so the computer understands that it is a web page. Like, we couldn't just type in lots of random text. The computer wouldn't understand that as a web page. That's why we use HTML or new tags, so the computer understands and can process it to make a web page. So everything we put in between now tags, we'll probably learn more about it as we go, because it might be hard to understand right now. But everything we put in between the opening and the closing HTML tag will be our web page. Now, they're just exactly the same, just that the slash is in front of the HTML on the closing tag. Well, the reason for that is that every single tag that has a closing tag has a slash in front of it. It's basically just the exact same thing, just with a slash in front of the letters. So to start off, we're going to make a new tag called paragraph. As you can see, the exact same thing as HTML tags, just that it's a P for paragraph. And this means there's a paragraph, then some text So what do we put in between these? Well, text, of course. So we can type in, for example, hello world, and what will appear on the screen now is hello world. You can type in whatever you want, but it has to be text, I guess. That's the only limit you have. But everything we put in between the paragraph tags of opening and closing tags will be text, and that will appear on the screen. So how do we see it? We can't see it in the browser right yet, because we can't just save it and open it and it will appear as a web page magically. No, we have to first save it as a file that the computer can understand, process it into a web page and open it, basically. So to do that, we're going to have to save it. So you can press File, Save As. Now, keep in mind, first, we cannot save it as a TXT document or text document, because then we'll open up in Notepad or whatever text editor you use for TXT files. We're going to have to save it as a all files. Okay? Now, of course, we can't just save it as all files either, so just give it a name. I'm just going to go ahead and call it a web page. And now, as you know, txt, as you can see here, .txt is to make a text document. But if we wanted to open up in a web page, we use .html, just as we did there, and just as the language is called, HTML. So now the computer understands that this file is supposed to open up in our browser. So then you save it wherever you want to save it, and click Save. Now, go ahead and open up the file that you just saved. It should automatically open up in the browser, and as you can see, it says hello world, just as we typed in over here. As simple as that. You can type in whatever you want. You can use Ctrl S to save, by the way, and F5 to refresh the page, and it will appear as text because we made a paragraph. See? As simple as that. So that was that for episode 1. In the next episode, we'll probably cover over. We'll see. Well, maybe make the text bigger, smaller, and some things like that. We'll see in episode 2. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.